Today is Saturday, November 15th. The following is a hangout with Hackfisher, developer of BitShares Play. I look forward to working with him in the future and hope you enjoy the hangout. Alright, since we have some new people, it looks like here, it's always good to give a little bit of an update on what we do here, what this Beyond Bitcoin Mumble server is all about, and what we're trying to accomplish. The Beyond Bitcoin Mumble server was started to kind of add an additional layer that needed to be added to the crypto media landscape, because it's important to not only give the pundits a voice and a platform to ask questions to the people that they believe in and the people that they would like us to all invest in, but to also give the shareholders themselves a voice, because it's a very valuable service, largely because this is the only place where you get that opportunity to ask the difficult questions and have them recorded. This is something that you do not see very often in the current paradigm of crypto media, so I hope that everybody here will take the opportunity to ask whatever questions they feel are necessary. Thank you, Hackfisher, for showing up. The developers who do show up here are wanting to be open and honest with the people who are potential shareholders in their projects. So with that said, we normally start out with a update from the developer, and then we will go into a community question and answer. If you would like to go ahead and start with your project update, Hackfisher, please begin.
Okay, thank you, Fadi. Really appreciate your effort on the Mumble. And for the last 2 weeks, there's many things happen. We finished the development of the website, the BitShares Foundation.
The BitShares Foundation.org?
Yeah, and these two sites are playing different roles. The BitShares Play Foundation is for the Play deck, and the PlayShare.io is another platform that will be playing an important role in the Play ecosystem, just like PureTracks for BitShares Music. It is for game developers and for platinum users to have a community and have a website and platform for them to have interaction or the entry to buy coins or the game assets from there. So it must be easy to use, and so it is not a part of the deck. But just like Bitcoin to BitPay to Bitcoin, it will be very important for mass adoption and improve the value of the network significantly. And so so that is why we want to support it, but it is not on the current roadmap. We will start it about maybe 4 to 5 months later, with hopefully another team to working on it. But that is on I can tell that the things I can tell that is it is on our roadmap. And the other important thing in the last 2 weeks is about the announcement of the allocation and snapshot on BTS. I guess people may already aware of that. About 35 allocation will be allocated to BTS holders, and 10% to AJS, 10% to PDS, and there will be 20% for pre-sale or crowdfunding, and there's still 15% percentage for use for development funds, long-term development, and the left 10% is reserve fund. It will be locked on initial block, and it will be unlocked monthly in the next year after the deck get launched. So that is the announcement, the allocation. And the PTS snapshot is already announced on 5th November. So it is the same time with BTS merger. And for the BTS allocation, there's a debate on whether we should heroes and market orders. After some debate on the forum, we agree with that. The major concern we have is that for the collateral owner, should we divide the allocation between the short and the long? The final decision we have is that we will divide different opinions from the team members, but after some discussion, we think it is better to honor the US dollar, BTS US dollar long players. Yeah, so that is the conclusion. And another thing is about the crowdfunding time. We should the BitShares org should already send out a mail notification that we will start crowdfunding at January 5th of the next year. And now we are moving to work on the consensus of the BitShares play and prepare for the BTS allocation and start to work on develop the wallet of the BitShares play. Okay, yeah, that's the general update.
Now, you said something about the crowdfunding, and you said something about BitUSD, but just to make sure that this makes sense to the people who are listening, I hear you saying that you were going to honor BitUSD?
Yes. The BitUSD holders will get their allocation from the collateral.
Oh, okay. So this has to do with the discussion that was had on the forums. Let's go ahead and hold back on that then for a little bit. Does anybody have any questions regarding the update? Go ahead, Genso.
Sorry. So just to be clear, you're going to honor BTS holders, right?
Yes, I'm going to honor BTS holders, and for BitShares, there's market orders and collaterals that is held by the system. For the smooth of the market, it's better to honor the market order holders and the collateral. And one confusion thing people might have is about the allocation of to the collateral, because the BTUS dollar is created by triple value of the BTS. Twice the double of them is from the shorter, and another one is from the long. So the allocation should be divided between them.
So for clarification, in the BitShares ecosystem, when somebody wants to short BitUSD, they have to put up 3 times the value of that BitUSD of $1 in BitShares as collateral. And originally, the rules stated essentially in the code that if somebody had shorted the dollar and they put up that money, or that 300% value of that dollar in BitShares X, or in BitShares now, then that was taken to not exist. For instance, if somebody had shorted the US dollar, BitUSD, and they had, say, 1,000 BTS that they had to use as collateral to short that dollar, they would not have been airdropped on it if the snapshot was taken during that time. Now, this has changed. So now you will be honoring BTS that has been held in collateral for shorts and longs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and how many PRS the long get is calculated from the current price. The left will go to the short.
Could you explain that a little bit?
Because the triple value collateral is from the shorter, but he has the obligation of returning one valued US dollar to the USD holders. So it makes sense that the owner could get part from the collateral allocation.
I think I understand. Does anybody have any questions regarding this aspect specifically? Because the reason I'm wanting to really make sure that everybody gets a chance here is because this was a pretty heated discussion. For those who were available to watch it on the forums, it was pretty interesting to see. Yeah. And Tony K brought up some very valid points, and obviously I think that that's ultimately what changed Hackfisher's mind regarding this, and I actually am in agreement with Tony's assessment. I think that Hackfisher turned on a dime, and it was kind of necessary to adapt to the situation. Does anybody disagree here? Seems like we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I think there might be different opinions that maybe all the allocation to collaterals should go to shorter. That's because we already have debate on our team inside, because this sometimes it is first it is difficult to understand. Second, because it is hard to define the allocation. I mean, what kind of right about the shorters or the loaners can have in their collateral. There's no clear definition on the BitShares white paper. So from the point of the shares or the value who these collaterals should belong to, we finally have this decision. That's just my two.
I guess I'm trying to understand why they would not want the longs to have this available to them.
Because actually on the blockchain or in the code, these values are stored in the address of the shorters. So when the shorters want to cover these collaterals, yes, actually those collaterals cannot find the original US dollar longers. The longer can already exchange the BTUS dollar to others. So we need to push this allocation to longers in a pool and then divide them equally to each holder. And it is not just US dollar. It is same to BTC or CNY or some other market assets.
So it would essentially allow people to be able to help the peg with the newer assets. Is that what I'm gathering?
It is the equivalent to the effect of covering all the collaterals or the margin call all the collaterals without 5% fees. And it is equal to cancel all the market errors. With this change or this allocation, the market do not need to, all the market players do not need to do these things.
So it frees them up to continue doing what they normally would be doing, which would be holding the peg and not having to worry about snapshots getting in the way and forcing them to make a decision whether they're going to keep their short or long position or unwind it in order to get the snapshot.
Yes, exactly.
Don't be afraid to speak up and ask for clarification, because I think one of the biggest issues that we have sometimes is that we require this clarification moving forward, and Hackfisher and the other developers require clarification regarding what the community thinks about how they're moving forward with their projects. And the community oftentimes needs to understand on a deeper level what the developers are doing. So if there's a problem or we're not covering or explaining something well enough for you, dig in, man, or type it out and I'll ask the question.
I think it's pretty clear. I guess the way I understand it is all the assets are essentially going to get a stake in play, and your process of thinking is that because the assets are all backed by BTS, they also deserve, some shares too, because BTS is ultimately the collateral. So, I mean, I think it makes sense, and I don't even own any of the other assets.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think it makes sense as well. And I think it feels good knowing that there are people who are that we're thinking about this stuff now, because to me it solidifies even further the assets that people are using in our ecosystem. It brings to question how many different holders of bit assets are going to eventually start being share dropped on, as opposed to just BTS holders and something to that effect. It might be. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Hackfisher, do you have any specific thoughts on that?
On what? Sorry.
With respect to, say BitGold, share dropping on BitGold or something to that effect. Does this negate the need to do that, or is this going to would there be the possibility that in your mind that developers might come along someday and they're a big gold bug and they say, well, we're going to form a partnership with this game developer and this game developer is going to share drop on BitGold holders?
Yeah, maybe, but I think I don't think they necessary currently. But since the BitGold is part of the BTS, if some game developer want to share drop on BitGold, I don't know the reason, but maybe he want to share drop on the BTS deck in some other way. Yeah.
See, it would be interesting to me because I've been thinking a lot in terms of if we had something like BitQuark or BitPeerCoin or something to that effect, people might be able to hold a stake in those tokens inside of our ecosystem and be rewarded for holding it on our decentralized exchange as opposed to the centralized exchanges. So it brings a whole new level of stuff to talk about, I guess, but we can push that away for now. Does anybody else have any points or questions that they'd like to bring up?
Yeah, one more point. For allocation to assets on BTSX, there's a similar, for address for the future decks, for address of PTS, they might be issuing, they could issue a new asset on the BitShares and then allocation to that. So this asset can be, trade against other assets or BTS. That could be a possibility, for me.
Go ahead, Dulo.
All right, thanks. So the question is real quick. Is the allocation still up to debate, or is it finally fixed? Because I think it's not really fair for AGS, but I said that already. AGS and PTS, sorry.
Yes, I think it is fixed. It is finalized. For the debate on the BTS and HS holders, I think there's no big issue for us because especially for we allocate 35% to BTS and most HS and BTS holders are also the holders of BTS, and especially for BTS, it is already taking the snapshot, and it is I know it seems that I want to give it an end, and I think it is not a good idea to allocation much more to the PTS and for the address or the PTS allocation, because it is already announced. If we change that, it will give a new effect on the market, on the exchanges, especially for those people who are not a member, who are not on the forum. They get news from other channel or media. There will be confusion about that, and I think it is not our changes to make these effects.
Okay, so my comments on that would be that the fact that BTS, all the AGS holders got an additional cut or an additional part of BTS from the merger increases the amount of play shares the AGS holders get from 10%, which AGS holders get directly, to 12.5%. So that's not much. And the other thing is AGS holders are not a unique group. So there are the AGS holders in BitShares, BTS, and they are the ones that donated before February 28th. And then there are all AGS holders, and that's two different groups. So the argument that the AGS holders get play shares anyway because the BitShares BTS holders are honored is also not valid. But I mean, I also understand the argument that that would have a great effect on the markets and stuff. I don't know. Maybe you can comment on that. And if it's not possible to change it at all, I would maybe encourage to other DAG developers to make a proposal to the community, and which can be discussed, an allocation proposal, and depending on the outcome of the discussion, like there can be a final thing. Because if there's just an allocation announcement and that's the final thing, that's always bad to change things afterwards.
Out of curiosity, do you know the difference between the percentage that PTS gets regarding this?
PTS and AGS, PTS gets 10% and AGS get also 10%, and PTS as well as AGS increase what they get in play by 2.5% from 10%, which they directly get, to 12.5% or 12.3%. And PTS and AGS are completely the same in that respect, because they both get also 7% in BTS.
So what you're talking about essentially is the difference between with BTS holders being AGS donators before the February 28th snapshot, as opposed to AGS donators who donated after the February 28th snapshot. It's very unfair for those who are holding BTS holding AGS from after the snapshot, because they will not be included with nearly the same amount of stake in BTS.
Yeah, that's right. The thing is, what was the common sense for AGS donations after February 28th was that those will get everything besides BitShares X, which is now BTS, and for example, play or music and so on. With music, it's the case. Now with play, they only get 10%. And instead, BitShares holders that did not buy BitShares X with this in mind, getting play, for example, and which did not take any risk donating that early, and which did not fund the development of play, get more than 3 times as much as AGS holders after February 28th get, which is just 10%.
Wow. Okay. So do you have any proposals on hand that you've considered might be a better way of accomplishing this, or?
So I didn't think of any specific other allocation, but I mean, it would be diplomatic to at least say those that donated, that funded the development of BitShares, Play, get as much as BTS holders. And so the only argument, and it's a valid argument, why BTS holders should get a stake in play is because of the network effect. That's the biggest group, because BTS holders include AGS holders, PTS holders, and people that newly bought into the BitShares ecosystem after everything. So that's the network effect argument, which is valid. But I would say that it would be fair if this argument is equally valid or equally weighted as giving credit to those that funded it, the development. And so half giving, for example, 20% to BTS holders and 20% to AGS and 20% to PTS would be something I would consider fair.
What do you think about this hack?
Yes, I agree that there's difference between the AGS donation before February 28 and after that time. And I think the question that the play deck and or maybe music deck or other deck is funded by AGS, and already Badmaster have that question that funded the basement that play should allocate more to AGS, because we didn't get that because we get the funds from Badmaster. We do not know which part it is from. We only know that it is from AGS, because we think since the PTS is was allocating to AGS 50%, and so in general, from the total amount of AGS, it is okay. But I can understand the concerns from you. We have a debate or discussion in our team, but other team members think that we should avoid this change, which is after a balance. I mean, a trade-off. Which one is a better choice for us? But there's larger proposal or concerns about that. We can make a proposal. That is the only thing. Or we can publish a poll or votes on the forum that people on the forum can vote what options they want to have. That is the only thing we can have if people really a lot of people care about this decision.
Yeah, I think I'd say I appreciate your openness to the topic, and I also see the point that changing it is a big thing and requires consensus, like you said. So I would appreciate something like a poll or an open discussion about changing the allocation on the forum, and a forum consensus is probably the best consensus we can get, although it's not perfect because the forum doesn't represent all PTS and AGS holders, not all BTS holders, and so on.
Yes, that is because since not all the people are on the forum, and so that's a disadvantage of having a poll on the forum, because it cannot really represent the votes from the shareholders. So it is only a partial effect. I mean, it can only be considered as one reason or one factor of the final decision. So that is why we was not going to have that poll.
So you're saying you're not going to have one, or did you? I thought you suggested to have one.
Yes, we was not going to have one. But I mean, if a lot of people have concerns like you, we will have. I mean, you can have a poll on the forum asking people to have a new proposal for that. Then we can see how many people really concerned about this. Then we can change that. I support this motive about new proposals.
So, yeah, first go ahead.
I was just going to say, does that make sense to you? Or because I actually think it would be a good idea, personally, if you put a forum post up there. Maybe first start off with a discussion and then use the discussion as the basis for the poll.
Sure, okay. I can do it. Are there any other voices? Are there any other voices regarding this?
I mean, I'm a AGS donator, pre-228. I'm also a BTS holder. I understand your point of view and exactly what you're saying. However, I think you're underestimating the network effect that BTS, giving a larger allocation to BTS, by far the most profitable, the DAC that's got all the money in it. I think that giving them a larger allocation will ultimately be better for play. And that's as somebody that's, like I said, an AGS donator pre-228. It's just my point of view.
Yeah, the thing with I agree with you. The thing with the network effect is, in the end, the network effect helps insofar as people promote it more, and people might play more. Like the second thing, I think is not that doesn't really matter much. Like they won't be big players just because the network effects argument doesn't matter. And in the end, it's the ethical, philosophical question. What you value more, like giving, honoring those that funded it, or giving to or enhancing the network effect. I mean, the network effect probably wouldn't also suffer if it was 20 instead of 35. Would the network effect suffer much? I mean, then you could also say, give it all to Bitcoin holders, the network effect would be even bigger. It's always a trade-off. So in the end, there's no final answer to the question. But I think, like, I put forward my arguments. I'm not trying to say I'm absolutely right. That's just how I see it.
No, your arguments, they're valid. And I mean, taking, say, 20 or 10% away from BTS to give to, AGS, you're right. Would it make a big difference? Probably not. I think you're maybe a little flawed in your thinking. I think the more that people have in BTS, the more that share dropped onto them, the more they will play. Look at the dice games. Bitcoin miners, dude, they play those dice games like crazy, and they're the ones that mine Bitcoins. I think, crypto, it's viewed a little differently. It's almost like, especially with gambling platforms, I think that the more people that get it in their hands and bigger percentages will be more inclined to play right out of the gate. Because they're not going to view it as money, the same thing that casinos do with chips. They make you kind of detach from the thought of it as actual money versus somebody that runs a brick and mortar store, like you were talking about.
Yeah, okay. I think all arguments were exchanged, and I will put them forward again on the forum and see what everyone thinks.
Sounds good. And does anybody else have any points or questions, or Hackfisher, do you have any statements regarding what they're talking about?
Yes, one thing about the play deck is that I want to clarify that we are not going to targeting the gambling to be a gambling deck. So I'm sorry about that. We will not get some papers I wrote on the forum and we didn't translate it to English because we just changed the inner exchange model to bi-direction to only one-way direction. People only can buy chips or game coins from PRS, but they cannot sell them. But we have a peer-to-peer exchange that people can exchange them on the market. So if someone want to buy those scam coins, people can sell to them, but they cannot buy those from the system. But they cannot sell those to the system, or cannot sell those scam coins to the game providers.
Are you just doing that for like legal reasons?
Yes, for legal reasons, yeah. And we think the gambling legal concerns are not resolved yet. Especially we are targeting to be a decentralized marketplace for more wide game kinds, not restrict to gaming or gambling games.
Michael Cat is asking, if Play is not going to do the gambling path, what will be the first type of games that Play is trying to include? Do you know that, or are you still trying to assess it?
Yes, even without gambling, people can play with some board games like chess, or we have a new plan of game on chain that is to guess the result of some event provided by it is a feed provided by the delegates, and just like smart contract, most the final result of the case will be decided by the delegates, and but I still want to clarify that the games on-chain is only a small part of the games we want to provide. Most games will be on the play deck, will be those games from the traditional game providers. They will sell their games on our platform, and we want to provide a marketplace for them.
So are you saying it would be similar to, for instance, something like Steam's marketplace?
Yes, something like that.
So one of the big issues that I've heard regarding that is if you look at Steam, you have a lot of modded games, meaning you might play this game on Xbox, but then you go on to Steam, and Steam offers a bunch of user-created content that you'll never get on Xbox or any of these other platforms. So I might be a game player who plays a game like say Left 4 Dead, and I can actually go out and learn how to use their toolkit to essentially create my own maps, and then I can put them to be downloaded by users, and they can rate them, and so on and so forth. Now, if I'm a mod maker or like a map maker and I'm very good at this, I might choose to try to sell this, but they do not offer the ability, to my knowledge, at this point for something like that to be done on Steam. Have you guys considered whether that would be a possibility on this platform, and will you be able to have some of the games that Steam has also traded on the marketplace?
That's the reason why we want to have Pleasure.io. That is a platform that provides APIs that can be seen as a bridge or a gateway to the play deck, and at the same time provide the simple to use user interface or API for the game providers to integrate to this deck. There will be lots of this kind of platform. Play deck will be just a marketplace or a publicator for these games. They will sell their game coins or their game assets on the platform, just like on the platform and on the play deck, just like the market on Steam.
So you're saying that if I'm a game developer and I have my game on Steam, I could also have it on your marketplace and offer the functionality on this, utilize a functionality that Steam doesn't offer me to actually initialize my entry into the marketplace with game coins that can be maybe share dropped on the current users, or something to that effect, sold to different people who are playing the games and things like that?
Yes, the thing we have, but the Steam cannot have, is that Polydeck is a network. So there will be effect that game assets can really be assets that can be traded against other assets or crypto coins. So game providers can even funding themselves by selling limited game assets on our market, and even further, we can have something like game shares to have their fans or the fans of the game to promote the game for them. They can divide part of the game sales sellings to their game shareholders. This kind of things, and the play deck will be transparent, and each game developer can easily access to integrate into.
So you said something to the effect of they can give the game tokens to their game shareholders. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, the game coins or the game assets from the game developers will be go through the play deck. Their selling will be go through the game play deck, and part of the sellings will be used to buy the game shares to destroy that, which is a kind of promotion model similar to BitShares Music, and that's the one advantage we can have after we involve the public ledger of the blockchain technology, which is different with Steam.
So Michael Cat's asking, will Play be the marketplace for trading items like money or weapons in between games?
Yes, that could be one possibility. The game developers can issue the weapons or the other assets on the play deck, and they integrate to their games. That would be very easy. And then the weapons they issue will be traded on the play market that the people can buy from, and then these assets can also be traded on the second-hand exchange. Sell them to others. That could be seen as a kind of real asset. And for the other situation, if the requirement of these game assets equal to the providing of these game coins, there will be kind of value on them, and then people can even earn money by playing these games.
So you can actually essentially, if you're really good at the game, or if you're really good at making bots that never get caught in the game, you could make a really good living off of existing in the marketplace, just playing the games and selling the items.
Yes, that's one case. And since the market in play is free trading, if someone using bots to do that, they cannot dump it. The price will go down. So it will encouraging the game providers to issuing the game assets that is have a cap. With limited amount. That will help them to funding, especially for those games that are small and they are not well known, so people can get to know about them.
It's really cool because where you guys live in China, China is one of the largest places for what we call, in America, we call it gold farming or video game farming. There are many people who actually start businesses, and they will hire people and give them room and board, and they will feed them and maybe give them a small amount of money to play the games and earn the items and then turn around and sell them using IRC or Skype to players who are primarily located in Western countries. So, do you foresee it changing the paradigm with that? Do you feel like this might give the people who are underpaid and working for these types of outfits, these types of companies, the ability to escape from that and go on their own and make better money?
Yeah, might be, but I'm more interested in form a network between games, an economic network that can connect different games and connect the crypto with the game assets. That's something more interesting to me.
I understand. Does anyone have any questions?
So say there's game A, and there's then a token for game A. So the people that play the game A or develop game A have an incentive to promote their game. What would be the token that is necessary to use game A or play game A? Is it game A token or is it the play token?
It's a game A token that people will promote for it. The more selling sales the game A have, the more game A token will be destroyed.
Right. And do you have anything like BitUSD on there?
BitUSD will be a kind of solution for us to resolve the vulnerability, but there's also a debate in our team that is between the bit assets and the BitPay model. We can put the BitPay model on the Pleasure.io or some other platforms. We can also involve the BitShares X bit assets to resolve the problem of vulnerability. I think for us, they are both good solutions to us. That is something we will use the easy one, or the idea that is easy to spread. That is the BitPay model. But if the BitShares prove to be mature, that is something we are easy to integrate into the play deck. So we have two solutions, and we are waiting the BitUS dollar to be more mature, so we can integrate it to the play deck. But that would be an option for us, and not very difficult.
Okay, so you would either have external payment provider like BitPay, or you would have also external bit assets from the BTS stack, but you would not have any internal bit assets.
Yes, for now we will first put more priority to other functions. I mean, we will implement the other functions first, and for the beta set, we will consider it when we really need it.
Okay, great. Thanks for the answer.
Please feel free to speak up and ask any questions. Hack said that he could give us a little bit more time.
Maybe a general question would be like, Hackfisher, you could summarize where the value of the play tokens comes from. So what gives them value? Why are they rare? Where are they used? They are rare. Why are they rare? Actually, but where are they used? And so where do they get the value from?
The value of the project will be from the network and the activities on the network. I mean, if there's more activity, economic activity, there's more transactions on the network, there will be more fees that will be destroyed. There will be more requirement to the tokens of the play deck. And so just like profit for the company, and the activities on the economic will be from two business model. One is from the sellings of the game coins and game assets. Another one is from the peer-to-peer exchange of the game assets. That is the two model I can see now. And for the on-chain games, which is originally the gambling rules, there could be dice or something else. That could be one possibility for our future. But because we provide a sale channel for the game coins, and we provide an exchange for them, if the requirement to that game coin is equivalent to the selling pressure, or for the selling requirement, there could be a equivalent or a balance on the market. I mean, people can earn money from these lucky games. They can also sell them to others. So, but that is not our focus currently.
Okay, so what you just said, can that be summarized as transaction fees? And the transaction fees, are destroyed. Then that's what they get the value from. Anything else apart from that category?
Yes. Then it is no different from other decks. I think it is from the destroy of the fish, and for play it will be different from BTS. It will have limit of share supply with 2 billion. It will be initial allocated to all the shareholders, and which is almost same with the previous BTSX.
So normally there's a second category of things that give a crypto token, its value. So the first thing is transaction fees destroyed, and the second thing is that the crypto token is needed to use the service that DAC is providing, which in this case is not true, I guess, because the Game A coins I mentioned before would be the ones used to play Game A, right?
Before one got to play Game A, especially for those on-chain games, they need to use pleasure to exchange for or to buy those game coins first. So all the game coins must exchange against the PLS first. So that will put a requirement to the PLS token, I mean the token of the play deck. And for the fees, there's also a lot of other kind of fees. For example, issue new game assets like weapons or something else. Yes, that's the.
Yeah, perfect. Like that. Okay, that makes sense. Like that, you have to buy the A game tokens with the play shares. That makes sense. That gives them the most value, I would say. Yeah, perfect. Thanks for the answer.
So it would be similar to a model where, for instance, we've brought this up before, but I'd like to get into it a little bit more. If kind of like an arcade where you go and you turn in your fiat for the arcade's tokens. Only in this case, instead of just having to purchase those tokens, it would now be like having something on the side of every game machine, where you turn those tokens in for the tokens for the game machine. And I might put in these play tokens and get 100 back for 1 token of the arcade's tokens. And whenever I use those 100 game tokens to play the game, some of them, a small portion of them, are destroyed. So the amount of game tokens will slowly decrease over time, and that will make the game tokens worth more play shares over time. Is that correct?
Yes, that could be one model of the game for the game. I mean, for the on-chain games, as soon as they put the rules transparently on the chain, they can define the rules as they want. They can increase, I mean, add the balance of some address as they want, as soon as that balance is restricted to the token of that game.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So the model could be dilution or inflation or deflation or something else that could be both possible.
Okay, so you will leave that up to them. Now, the games that are not on-chain, they will not have the ability to decide either way.
For the games that is not on-chain, I mean, for the traditional games, since the play deck has no restriction to the values of the game assets they provide, so just like the user issued asset on BTSX, it is depend on the need to trust them for the value for the game assets they provide. But to prevent fraud or some other kind of things, it will more dependent on the platforms like Pleasure.io to filter these valued game assets. This network is transparent and open. Anyone can issue assets on that if they provide enough fees. But for the people, they want to sell their game assets to the people or for mass adoption, they need to go through the platforms that is on the network. They will play an important role in the future of the preventing fraud. I mean, for the play deck, it might be possible for the delegates to prevent fraud too, but I think it is not mature now to put all the things on delegate. They are not ready for other things. For mass adoption, the platform on the network will also play an important role in these kind of things to trust involved.
Sure. I always like to get a couple subreddit questions in, and we're getting to that point where it's going to have to be cut down for, until the next time. We're going to have these every 2 weeks until Hackfisher decides otherwise. And this one is from the subreddit. He asks a bunch of questions, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to ask a couple of the questions that out of the 7 that he's asked, because I think that we have covered some of these to a degree. When will the technical white paper and API be available for game developers?
The technical white paper is already there, and I think we need a version 2 for the white paper because some design already be changed. And for the API, it will be available when the deck is launched. We need some documents about that API, and the API will increase when the function and more features get implemented. So it will grow with the development. I think the version 2 white paper will be ready in 1 month or 2 months. That will be, the deck will be launched about, I think, 3 months or 4 months later. That will be ready before the deck gets launched.
Will the pre-sale be held through centralized exchanges?
I don't think so. The necessary for centralized exchanges. I know that some pre-sale in China is through the exchanges, but that is held by 3 or 4 entities. If there's necessary, we will consider exchange, I think, but I just don't find the reason yet.
There's another question, and this one's asked by Metal Allen. Have you had any contact with game developers yet? If so, what is their response to play? And if not, have you got any plans to do so? How does it look like?
Yes, we keep in touch with several game providers in the past 2 months in China. They give me a lot of suggestions. Some of them are experienced in this area. That is why we make these changes to the design recently, moving from bi-direction exchange to one direction, especially for on-chain games. And we get a lot of requirements and their ideas about we want to put our enhance in our network. So they will be interested to integrate with the play deck, and they could be interested in joining the network. And we will continue to touch more game developers or game providers more, because we are newbies in the game industry. We need to find the problems and the things we can resolve with the new technology. And I'm confident that there will be a lot of chance in this industry.
Just as a side note here, and kind of a shameless plug, I'm sorry, for one of our community members, but Wild Wex is in here, and he's currently deafened, but it might be worth it to contact him at some point, because I am certain that he was the project lead on an MMO that came out, I think somewhere around the time that World of Warcraft did. He has some experience in this industry as well. I don't know if he would be interested in putting his game on there, but it would be worth it to talk to him regarding that, and I'm sure a few other things with respect to your quote-unquote noobness it might be helpful to have a couple gurus with regard to the actual gaming side of it.
Yeah, pretty cool. We appreciate that. It'll be very good if we can communicate with them